Welcome to the Liberated Feminine Podcast. I'm Lucy Lampy, your host, and this is the first video we've done in a minute. Let's see how this goes with baby here. I think she's gonna wake up soon to eat again, as babies do. Today, I want to dive into the topic of redefining your sexual identity. Now, more specifically, as I have made a note for myself, creating new core beliefs around your sexuality. Now, whether you are taking care of an infant, like I am, or you're going through a major identity rebranding or a life breakdown, or whatever is happening in your specific context, when we are tapped into the essence of who we are as sexual beings, it makes all the difference in the world. Now, I'm going to take this back to my own journey to give you some parallel examples here that hopefully you can connect with. As some of you may know, I grew up in a very conservative environment as a pastor's daughter, and having my core beliefs around sexuality were very much, don't do it. Sex is for procreation, only with your spouse, and don't even think about it until then. And it's kind of this whole, no pleasure, you can't masturbate, you're going to hell if you do any of these things. And so my very soul was in danger if I were to explore anything of along these lines. So having the core identity of my sexuality, the core beliefs rather, forming this identity of I can't be a sexual person, it's not safe for me to be a sexual person because then I'm going to go to the bad place, right? Or it's not safe for me to be a sexual person because then I might get STDs, or because then I'm going to be seen as not a good girl, and then I won't belong anywhere, and I won't have this protection, this security of community and belonging. So there was so much for me that got in the way of really coming home to who I am as a sexual being. And we're talking well after I was married. I mean, I already had kids. I had been married for, how long at that point? Like closer to a decade. And I remember at one point telling my husband then at the time, I could take it or leave it when it comes to sex. I could take it or leave it. It's really not that big of a thing for me. It's not who I am. I'm just not a sexual person. And I kept saying that. I remember I was so attached to this identity. This is where it gets slippery, right? Oh, not in a fun way either. This is where the slope gets slippery, because it's more than just a thought that has become a belief. It is a set of beliefs that have formed an identity. And so when we feel something in our bodies often enough, which for me was the shutdown, the sexual shame, that's too much, I can't feel that. Desire, nope, that's sinful. When you feel something in your body repetitively over however long, like over years for me, then you begin to form a belief around it. Pleasure is bad, desire is bad, sex is bad, sex is sinful, my pleasure is somehow unholy. And then you have that repeated enough in your experience, it becomes part of your identity. You latch onto it and you think, okay, or I thought, okay, if I want to be a good girl, if I want to be a good person, if I want to be a good mom, then I must not be a sexual person. Now, I want to invite, if that's you, maybe some of you out there genuinely are asexual, cool. I'm not going to fight you on that. What I have found is that for me, I genuinely thought that I was asexual. At the time, I didn't even know that there was a word for it. I just knew that, geez, I could be a nun. I could just go be a nun in a convent. I already had my kids, of course, but it was that kind of mindset of I could take it or leave it. It required an entire rebrand. That's a more fun word than a breakdown, right? But honestly, that's also what it was, of my sexual identity. And what does it take to create new core beliefs around your sexuality? Just like it took for your existing beliefs, repetition. And now, however, you get to do this with intention. So for me, it looked like going into my self-pleasure practice and being curious about what was there. Being curious about what beliefs were keeping me, what thoughts, what aspects of what I identified with was keeping me from feeling like a sexual person. And this is the space within my self-pleasure practice that I confronted all these gnarly shadows around my sexuality, my self-worth, femininity, what it is to be a woman, what it means to be a good person, a good mom, a good partner. And this is what I love about the self-pleasure practice as well. Is those of you who have heard me go on and on about this, or who have experienced it yourself, is that you're literally working with the body. You are working with your body and feeling into and identifying, where does that shame live? In the numbness, in the discomfort, in the repetitive thoughts of, you shouldn't be doing this, you're wasting your time, you could be doing something more productive. All of the things that come up within a self-pleasure practice is something to just be deeply present with and not something to fix. And so in that space, I started to unravel all these different expressions and aspects of my sexual identity. And that's also the space where I realized, oh my God, I do actually just enjoy pleasure for the sake of pleasure. I do feel my sexual aliveness. I do have a rich, endless source of turn on. And I do have a lot of desires unmet. That's where I started to really become so brutally honest with myself about not just what I want in a carnal way, in a primal way, but also not rejecting that and looking deeper beneath the surface of, okay, what does my heart want? What is my soul actually inviting me to experience or embody more of through this desire, through this primal, carnal, lustful desire? What's there? What's beneath the surface? And of course, with all my Scorpio placements, that really supported me in going deep into the depths of alchemy and all that whatnot, all that good juicy stuff with the dark feminine energy, no less. So as I began to reconstruct my sexual identity, again, what does it take? Repetition. It took having these experiences in my self-pleasure practice of just feeling so lit up by my pleasure, so nourished, so spiritually connected, so much healing balm to my deeper wounds, and allowing myself to acknowledge that and name that, and every single time celebrate it. Because what's happening then is that you are stacking evidence of a new belief, stacking evidence that supports your new belief, and that new belief supports your new identity. And this is what's something that's so powerful about this, is that you're choosing it. You're choosing it. What you have had maybe up until this point has been by default, by your environment, your upbringing, your family, your culture, multitude of factors. But now you get to consciously choose. What do you want your sexual identity to be? And I'm not talking about your sexual, like as in if you're, bisexual or pansexual, and I'm not talking about that. I mean, how are you in relationship to your sexuality? What is that like? Does it light you up? Does it nourish you? Does it feel like something that, like, yeah, I am a turned on woman. I am connected to my desires. I am an erotic vixen. I don't know, whatever. What is this for you? Because when you choose that intentionally with so much purpose, that is powerful. And that will begin, it's not if, but when, it will begin to shape and influence everything else in your life. Because from your sexual energy, you are creating your whole life. You are co-creating, like the way that you were created through sperm and egg. It's sexual energy, it's creation energy. The masculine and the feminine coming together. Now, I'm not talking just men and women, but I mean everyone has masculine and feminine energies within them. And also, biologically, the sperm and the egg, creation. 1 + 1 = 3. That's creation energy. And when you are tapped into your sexual energy, and I mean more than beyond, my brain. I'm talking about more than just genital stimulation and climax. I mean, having this direct access to creator, to your ability to create anything. And because there can be so many distortions and shame and shadows around your sexuality, actually going into the carnal nature of your sexuality can be, and often is, the place to start. Because when you clean up those distortions, when you clean up that shame, when you clear out that, that takes a huge weight off of you. And then you are able to tap into it in this more, I would say, what a lot of people speak on is a more ascended, enlightened way of sexuality, but you've got to descend first. As above, so below. And the more that you are ascending, you're going to be descending. The more you're descending, the more you're ascending. So all of the light, tantra, all of these practices, you're only going to experience so much power to the degree that you have descended. And this is why I love talking about things like the sexual shadow, the taboo, kinks, fantasies. That is my playground. So in my upcoming 5-day pleasure challenge, we are going into that. I'm dedicating 1 whole day's theme to that. So if you are ready to rebrand your relationship to your sexuality, join me for this challenge. We're covering so many different nuances of what pleasure actually does in your life, how connecting with your pleasure, it literally changes your life, And so again, more than just about positions and how many O's you can reach and where and how often. No, honey, we're going deep. We're skimming the surface, we're having fun, we're splashing around in the water, and then we are diving fucking in it, all right? Final thoughts on this core identities is, as you are also, this is another piece. It's not just collecting the evidence that you have in your self-pleasure practice, for example, but also stacking the evidence of the identity, I am a sexually vibrant person, for example. Name it. How do you want to feel in your body? For me, those were big words, sexually vibrant. Erotically alive, because it was about more than just the bedroom. It was how I move through life, how I move through the world and all of my relationships in any situation or season of life. Like, look, I'm holding a 2-month-old in the carrier right now talking about this shit, okay? This is what I mean. It's embodied. It's a part of me because it is a part of my identity, not just a little something that I do. And to be connected to that, I also stack the evidence of, how erotically alive I felt dancing, or sitting next to the ocean, looking at some flowers, having my hands in the soil, getting dirty, getting messy, getting wild. And again, letting that reinforce this belief of I am a sexually vibrant person. And then of course, intimate moments within partnership, like that as well. And start to notice the feedback that life is giving you as you keep reinforcing to yourself, this is who I am. And stop, for the love of God, and all that is good and beautiful and pleasurable. Stop telling yourself, but no, I'm just not a sexual person. I'm just not really into that. I don't really care if I have pleasure in my life. We've got to extract that, okay? Extract it and replace it with something that is going to support the person, the woman that deep down you are. You just gotta uncover her and remember her sometimes. All right, well, thank you for joining me for this episode. And until next time, here's to liberating your wild feminine heart.